let's talk about another move that would be a good potential publicity move. The Giants fans have been talking about a certain man, Antonio Pierce, being a potential candidate for defensive coordinator. Now, first off, I have to start this segment off by saying we have not fired our defensive coordinator. So I'm a bit confused why this keeps becoming such a large topic. He is still employed by the New York Football Giants. Now, a lot of this speculation comes from the fact that Shane Bowen obviously has a great relationship with Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is rumored to be the favorite to be the coach for the New England Patriots. And they're thinking that Shane Bowen will ask to be released from his contract with the Giants so he can go to the Patriots. So that's where a lot of this is coming from. But a lot of this is also coming from the fact that Giants fans, wrongly in my opinion, dislike Shane Bowen.
Yeah.
You can't blame the chef for not making the best meal when the ingredients kind of suck.
Or, can't blame the sous chef when the chef's not making the right ingredients.
We talked about it before. The holes are big on defensive line, corner, issues where they're left and right as far as, personnel issues. I don't think the guys there necessarily fit his defense as well as they fit Winks as well as part of it too. But
yeah, that's a big part of it.
It is what it is. I mean, that part of it's done, but I just want to reiterate that in case anybody is a Bowen hater and hadn't heard that part. But, there's a lot of people speculating. Now, Antonio Pierce does have a resume that you can sit there and say he does qualify as a defensive coordinator in the NFL. Obviously played for the NFL 01 to 04 with Washington, 05 to 09 with us. So, that's 9 years in the league, which for some reason it feels like a longer career. 9 years. That's kind of shorter than I remember it always whenever I hear it.
Yeah, right.
Went into coaching 5 years after his retirement, was the head coach for the Long Beach Poly High School in California. Did that job there for 4 years. Went off to be, one of the guys at Arizona State with Herm Edwards. Was the linebackers coach and recruiting coordinator 18 to 19. Also gained the title of associate head coach and co-defensive coordinator in 2020, and then became just regular defensive coordinator the following year in 21, along with still having the associate head coach and recruiting coordinator thing. But keep in mind, he also got a lot of trouble at Arizona State for his coordination of recruiting. Along with Jaden Daniels' mom and all kinds of stuff there. He was banned from the NCAA for 7 years because of the things they found out he did, because literally some of his coaches beneath him ratted him out because they were worried about getting in trouble. So leaves there, goes to be a linebackers coach for the Raiders for 2 years, and then becomes the interim head coach last year, and then the head coach this year. So, I mean, he's got a resume, but he's a guy that I think was kind of a shocker to even get the head coaching job at all with, Las Vegas. And a lot of that was because the players loved him. Absolutely loved him.
Yeah.
And I'll sit there and say this point blank, the way they played down the stretch and considering the roster they had, I still think he should have got at least one more season. I mean, that, look at what the Raiders did down the stretch when the season was over. And granted, Raiders fans are probably pissed off, same as we were when we beat the Colts, because they ruined their good draft pick. But I mean, they lost to the Chargers. Okay, fair enough. That's a playoff team. They beat the Saints. They beat the Jaguars. They barely lose to the Falcons. They had a good 4-week stretch, only 2-2, but 3 to the 4 they were in, and one of them was just a really good team that beat them.
And
it's not a bad way to end the season, especially when you don't have a quarterback, you don't have all these, a line, you don't have all these things going on here. There's not a very full cupboard for the Las Vegas Raiders, guys. Not that the Giants can talk much either, but it's not a very full cupboard, really.
But you're also talking about the Chargers is a divisional game that they played against when they played against the Raiders. So they see each other twice a year, and with Harbaugh being over there with the Chargers, and we'll talk about that later. It's he brought a different team, and sometimes in divisional games you have those tight games with the bad team and a good team, and sometimes one smokes the other, and that's what just happened.
Yep. So, like I said, I can see how people would want him for the Giants. I mean, obviously, former Giants player, former Super Bowl champion. A lot of people think very highly of an organization, and I know a lot of people like him personally. He's a very charismatic person from what I hear, but having a year and a half as a linebackers coach and then a year and a half as a head coach, I don't know if that's the resume I need for a defensive coordinator. But I also don't think anybody wants to come here, hypothetically, if they get rid of Bowen either. We talked about that before. Like, literally, everybody knows that you are on a very short leash with Dable and Shane. If you are a guy like Antonio Pierce that may get one shot to become a good defensive coordinator here in this league, are you taking that shot with the Giants right now? I'm not.
Or it's also in the same boat. Like, how many people are going to give Antonio Pierce a shot at being a DC?
And that's the problem you're into.
So it's kind of like you have to scratch each other's back, and Antonio Pierce has got to come here and like turn this defense around. Like, in this defense, like, let's be real. Like, people said every now and then your defense goes just about average. Turn around. They really went that. they really weren't that bad of a defense. They're just on the field way too low. Turn around.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, part of what I look at though with him as well is the question of what kind of defense, if hypothetically the position became available when we brought him in, what kind of defense would he run? We've never seen him be a defensive coordinator in the NFL even. There's a lot of questions with him. There really is. And he's an intriguing candidate if we do let go of Shane Bowen or let him go off to coach with the Vrabel. But honestly, he would not be my first choice, second choice, or probably third choice.
Probably not fifth or sixth.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I feel like Giants fans, especially because we're really dying for good times right now. We're looking kind of at the past and remembering guys, and obviously Antonio Pierce is part of that. But you can't overlook the fact that he's never been a defensive coordinator in the NFL. He has a little bit of an issue past-wise with his time at Arizona State. And my understanding, listen, I don't pretend to be a California high school football expert, but my understanding was that Long Beach Poly High School did not do very good under him either. So,
yeah, couldn't say it.
Like I said, I'm not an expert on, again, a California high school football. I can just tell you that from what I heard, his time there was not thought of as a glory time for the team overall. So, but again, that's not expecting to be a head coach, just a defensive coordinator. Plus, it was his first job. But when I say just defensive coordinator, the other thing is that could be intriguing to him is he can come here potentially and replace Dable halfway through the season if things don't work out. So he's been an interim coach before, just saying.
Yeah, and it worked for him last time.
Yeah. I would almost rather bring back Patrick Graham. I mean, I got to assume that if Pierce is gone, Graham is gone too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just saying. Options.
Options here.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.